No wonder you're good at poker. You can forecast the future.
I'm telling you. Crusher.
No, maybe Kyle's got like sixes. No, he's got like.
Kyle could have sixes there.
Could even have like ace queen still. He's gonna look him up.
He doesn't like it, but he looks him up.
Show your hand.
No
Show
good.
your hand.
King 8 for Nate.
Must have been. That's the second time now we've seen Kyle play a pop and Nate, and I'm wondering if he's just trying to look him up because Nate's trying to take over the table.
Nate's playing so many hands. So someone said that the stream's down for them. It's still going good on our side. So
Can you still hear us?
back to the action here. Somehow Kyle's under the gun again.
I'm sure he loves that.
Yeah. Peter never found two cards he didn't enjoy folding. Action over on Nate.
Nate's definitely gonna raise here. I mean,
So Matty opened up to 55.
Oh, did he?
So Matty raised 55. Nate's gonna call here with Jack 10 off. That's for sure. David's out of the way. Azan's card dead as usual. Ace 10 4. Nate flops himself middle pair.
And we know Matty does not like aces ever unless he has it. But
We've seen that. We've seen him.
he's check folded like, and
Yeah.
he pulled out a turn even earlier when
I
ace
think he might have.
He hates aces.
In this case, he check called. Another ace on the turn. He checks into Nate again. Nate fires. And I actually really love, I mean, it looks pretty simple. I mean, or to me it seems pretty simple, Nate's play there. A player like Matty, who's gonna be, if he had an ace, he would, there's no reason for him not to c-bet the flop. He's not really trying to, I don't think, trying to do too much trapping right now. And so when he's content to check call there, and then when another ace comes, I mean,
You gotta fire.
You gotta fire. I mean, because you very well could be getting your opponent off of jacks or jacks or better, yeah.
It's been awesome if Matty actually had an ace there.
Yeah, right?
Then we could have seen something, but that's just not how this game is going right now.
No, not at all.
We do have the right players, some of them in this game though, to see some big hands. So
Yeah, it seems like we just haven't had, the cards haven't really cooperated to have those really big hands that we would love to see. So Matty limps in, Kyle checks his option. King 10-3. Matty's got a suited ace. Check, check. 8 of spades on the turn. Kyle leads for 15. Matty looks him up. 5 of hearts on the river. The blinds are 5-10 tonight, guys. It's a 5-10 game. And we've had a $20 straddle come kind of in and out of the game. Right now they have not been straddling, but yeah, tonight is 5-10. So this game hasn't been, you know, all the action that I'm sure all the players watching the stream would be hoping for. What I can guarantee you is February 8th, half-half, PLO, no Oklahoma. PLO, I don't care. I don't care how card dead you are. Like, there's action in PLO. It's just, you have so many draws, so many options, so many different ways you can misplay your hand. The possibilities are limitless.
Can someone in the chat tell me what the best starting hands are for PLO? Because I have no idea what I'm going to be doing in that game.
Oh, I can't. This is going to be great. How? Oh my God, why do I got?
I don't know. Like, I don't play PLO, so I don't know if I should just buy in short and just jam it.
You're probably going to be. Yeah, it's probably not your worst.
It'll be fun though.
Oh yeah, you're never gonna not have fun playing any variant of Omaha. That's my opinion. So Matty's under the gun here. He's flopped a pair and an open-ended straight draw. We can't see what anyone else has, if they have much of anything. Handsome George has got an ace, but it didn't connect.
Nate's definitely gonna stab though. Or actually no, Matty, my bad.
So Matty and Nate heads up on the turn. Matty leads.
This is an extremely wet board here. 2 flush draws, straight draw. Jack and the 10 are definitely both in Nate's range here. Well, what isn't in Nate's range?
Yeah, right. That's the thing.
And
everything gets there.
Connects.
And he checks it over to Nate. Does not like the spade. Do you think he goes for the check raise here, or is he just trying to induce a bluff out of Nate?
I think he's trying to induce a bluff.
Maybe also protect against he has the flush.
But it's like
200. There's a call. And chop it up.
Chop it up.
So I guess if you're in Matty's seat there, you have a very active, very creative player behind you, and that's a very good card to bluff or bet if you don't have it. My natural fear there is that card completes everything, and it's so likely to go check on the river.
Yeah.
You know, not betting when you bend the pre-flop aggressor. Although I guess when you betting, and get there, then you can check back and maybe try to induce your opponent to get creative. It might either they're going to chop anyhow, but if you were in Matty's seat there, do you bet the river, or do you check over Nate and try to let him bluff at it, even though he wasn't bluffing in that spot, and not knowing that he actually had the 8 as well?
I think I probably would have still bet it.
So bet.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you're betting the flop, betting the turn, and then when you finally make your hand, you're gonna check it.
Yeah.
This seems weird to me, but I can see why he did it. And the thing is, the other thing is, how comfortable do you feel if Nate decides to raise with his straight there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nate's going to make it 55 to go here with ace-jack offsuit. Azan's got an ace, but he's in fold mode. Peter's got pocket 6s. He'll play with them. So we're going to go heads up here.
So I think Peter just limped there.
I think Peter limped and flopped the set.
Unfortunately, Nate misses, but...
And he's going to lead into him.
Come on, let Nate c-bet.
Nate calls. Bet 55, call 55. And Nate connects on the turn. This could be trouble for Nate.
Now if you're Peter, I think you should still bet.
Yes. Bet 105, call 105. Backdoor hearts get there, but I don't think either player is really thinking about that.
Still gonna bet, I would bet like 250, 270-ish maybe.
And Peter goes for a pretty big bet there. I think he's got to have a pretty good feeling that Nate's got an ace here to call. That's 375. I love it.
That was a good bet, yeah.
It really is, because Nate's going to float a lot of his overcards and big aces on the flop. And if he calls a turn, especially when Peter's betting into him, you've got to feel, if you're Peter, that he's got to have an ace here.
Yeah,
I mean, there's really not a whole lot.
Think about it.
Yeah,
I like a pot size bet here.
Yeah, there's really not a whole lot Peter or that Nate can continue with on the turn without an ace. And Nate makes a call, and Peter shows is good.
How do you feel about limping with small pairs in early position?
I think limping is something that you do when you're hurt. Like limping something you do when you're broken. I really, for the very few exceptions aside, I don't limp. I mean, if there's 101 limpers in front of me, I'm on the button with like ace-3 suited, I might try to come in and see a cheap flop, or 10-6 suited, or a suited queen, some junk like that, something that's gonna either flop big or go home. I might limp in position. If I'm first act, a hand with playing is a hand with raising. That's just how I play.
I agree.
If I'm not gonna open up deuces, then I just fold them.
Especially in tournament play, I see a lot of players that just open limp with small pairs.
Yeah.
And I just think you gotta raise.
Yeah.
If you're gonna play.
And you're gonna disguise your range better by opening there with middle pairs, same as if you open with aces or king queen suited or something like that, and it makes you harder to play against if you're opening up small and middle pairs. Versus where a lot of players will just play just that. They'll limp small pairs, middle pairs, limp suited connectors, they'll call a raise, and then check fold or check raise depending if they hit or not, you know. And it just makes you they play two face up when you're playing that way. And for I think any competent player who's going to be playing most of his hands in position, you just when you do make a hand, you're not going to get any value out of it, and when you don't, you're too easy to exploit. Limpings for the week. So Rich makes it 125 to go. Nate's got sevens and a broken fold button, so he's in the hand.
So I think Nate actually opened here.
Nate opened and Rich 3-bet. King 10 deuce. Good hand for Rich's range.
Yeah.
Or good board, I should say.
Yeah, Nate's probably gonna have to let this one go.
So, Mart 3046 asks, well, what about in limit? So in limit, is it the same way? Are you opening or folding with small medium pairs?
I'm probably opening.
You're opening.
Yeah.
I'm the same.
I just hate limping in limit, period. Unless it's like a super multi-way pot and it's the type of game where people aren't folding and you just know that every flop is going to be six way.
Yeah.
Then maybe. But yeah, I generally like to be the aggressor.
And plus, like you said, it makes continuation betting like boards like that. You know, King 10 deuce. If you have sixes, you know, and your opponent's got sevens, you know, he's going to be check folding a lot of the time if you were the one who opened up the pot.
Yeah.
You know, disguising your range.
Although that'd be tough to c-bet with sixes out of position with King 10.
He was in position.
Was he?
He was in position.
Okay.
Yeah, Nate opened, Rich 3-bet behind him, but the same thing. You go versus if a player, let's say, you know, like we're talking about, if a player, not native obviously, had limped sevens, and then the, you know, a player behind him opened with a medium pair. We never saw what Rich had. For all we know, Rich had fives.
Yeah.
You know. And it makes continuation betting those boards, especially when your head's up, so much more believable. And you're going to get your opponent off of better hands more so than if you had just limped along as well. So Nate put in a straddle here to the 8-3. Handsome George opens up to 50, and no one's got nothing for him. Not like Handsome George wanted a lot of action there, but when you're playing as few hands as George is, you're not going to get any action. You know, if George didn't want action there with his 8-9 off, but if he had aces there, I mean, no one's going to play with him either. And when you're not opening anything.
We need like a splash pot.
Need a splash pot. Round of drinks. We need someone to get cooler, to get some juices flowing.
Yeah.
Let the blood boil a little bit.
This is on. Actually have a hand.
Nope. Peter, Handsome George opened up to here to 20. Matty made the call right behind him, can't see his cards. Peter calls with the 4-6 of clubs on the button.
All right, we got a big multi-way pot.
Nate's got Queen 3 of clubs, and Sean's got the Jack 10 of diamonds.
And that is an open-end straight draw for Sean.
And
Nate's
Peter
got
flops a pair and a
draw.
Peter flops a pair and a flush draw. Peter's got a monster hand right now. Now he doesn't obviously anticipate his clubs are no good, unless you're Veronica, who thinks all your
Everyone
flush draws
hit.
are no
Everyone.
good.
Well, we don't know about Maddie, but pretty much everyone hit a piece of this. George has the gutter. Richard's got a pair. Nate's got flush draw. Peter's got a flush and a straight. No, wait, flush and a pair. Sean's open-ended with overs, and we can just assume that Maddie's got.
Nate let out for 20. Maddie called 20. Handsome George called 20, and Peter makes it 195 to go with his pair and a flush draw, and I love it. Nate's going to come along with his flush draw. I don't know if any of the other players are going to continue, really. I don't see Handsome George coming along with his gut shot. We don't know what Matty has. He folds.
Wow.
Board pairs on the turn. Check, check. Oh, God, Peter, you got to bet that. You got to keep it going. Nate rivers himself a pair. It's no good. If this goes check, check, Peter's going to win the hand.
And I think it did go.
And he goes check, check. There it is, Peter's fourth. So Peter wins the hand anyway. But this goes back to aggression and playing in position. I think when there's a lead and a bunch of callers and you raise in position like that and you isolate yourself against an opponent and he checks to you on the turn, I just don't see checking back as, I mean, you really got to continue your story. I mean, Peter has got no real reason to believe that his fours are good there. And I think if you're really going to try to get your opponent off of, an 8 there, or it was 8-9-4, yes?
8-9-4, yeah.
Yeah, if you're trying to get your opponent off of a 9, something like 9-10, something like that, you gotta bet that turn. In my mind, you gotta keep the story up. You raise pre-flop. You're saying you got a big hand, or at worst case, you got a big draw, and checking back the turn there, I think is just so passive. I mean, but Peter's very fortunate that his hand was actually good there.
Peter plays really tight though too, and I'm wondering if that had a factor in the check behind. I mean, Peter could have like jacks there maybe, or maybe I don't know.
It's just, from Peter's perspective, I don't see how you don't continue once you got yourself heads up against an opponent after being the aggressor on the flop, after putting in a good raise. How do you don't continue to bet there? Unless you specifically think that like Nate maybe called you a hand like ace-8 and just called the raise, led the flop with middle pair and called the raise with middle pair, which is kind of, I don't know, to me it just doesn't seem to make a whole ton of sense. I think Peter's, ought to feel really, really fortunate that his pair of fours were good, because the way the hand was played, I think he could have easily got to play with 9-10 or jack 9 off there, and Peter actually got fortunate that one, the club didn't get there for 2, that his pair of fours were actually good. But then again, I'm all for aggression in all straights, and let's bludgeon and barrel and shift the chips, goddammit.
Nate and Richard, once again.
These guys.
Gonna play. Nate's gonna open on the button. Why is there no big blind? Oh, there is. Never mind.
Nate makes it 20 to go off the button. He's min raised all night, seems like. Richard and David call. Nate's got a gut shot and backdoor spades. We don't know what David's got. We know Richard completely missed. It checks through. David's got 6-8. So both Richard and David turn a pair.
I'll just bet it here if I'm Nate.
Checks through. Free river card. And Nate makes the best hand. And I got a feeling it's going to check right through again.
Yeah.
Now with it,
that was exciting.
Yeah, we'll go back to that board. If you're Nate, obviously you have nothing, but like once you have 2 opponents,
they check twice.
They check twice to you. Yeah, he wins the pot, but probably should be betting the turn. Then again, I know
after you check the turn though, I would just check that river.
Yeah, then you check the river obviously. Now
I would bet the turn.
Yeah, but yeah, if with no showdown value, I gotta imagine you gotta be betting that turn. So Azan's got a monster again because he just runs as pure as Colombian cocaine. 5-7 on poor Azan. He can never get anything going here on the stream. Despite what you see, he actually is a really solid poker player.
It's like Daniel Negreanu on High Stakes Poker.
Oh God, that's just like the worst.
He just ran bad.
God,
Azan's just card dead.
This is like the world's like super coolers. That's the way I've just tried to describe it. I went on a really bad run online in 2008. And that's the only way I can describe it to people. Do you ever watch Daniel Negreanu on High Stakes Poker? Yeah. And it was like that. To the point where I was just shaking my head, this isn't real. This can't be really happening. I started everything's tracking, but I was logging my hands, individual hands where the money went in. And in just a matter of an hour, I'd gotten my money all in as a substantial favorite, or notably in the lead, in 11 of the 12 hands, and didn't get a single one to hold. It was just like, that's the only way I could describe it to other people. It was like, it was like watching Negreanu on High Stakes. It was just, getting punched in the stomach.
Yeah, it sucks.
So I responded, the way I handled that was I pulled like all my money at a full tilt, albeit for like, I think I left like $1,000 in there, and tried to play just a ton of satellites into the main event. And so I just played like 3 or 4 like $200 satellites, and then I played one $500 satellite into the main, didn't get through, and took some time off of online poker for a while. I compounded my problems. After I had the run bad, I thought, rather than recognizing that I was running bad, I tried to adjust my play, thinking that I was doing something wrong to put me in these like really volatile situations. When in actuality, I was just I went on some run bad. That's gonna happen, especially when you're playing online and logging that many hands, like you can when you're multi-tabling online. You're gonna go on just like these gross skid mark streaks of just grossness. And
the good thing about online though is if you're playing multiple tables, you can get through the swings faster because higher volume. But that could also be dangerous because when I run bad or when I tilt, for whatever reason, I'm way more prone to tilt online than in live poker.
It's because you can emotionally react. I think when you're at home, you can get up, jump out of your chair, throw your laptop at your roommate.
I've broken 4 laptops playing online poker.
Oh God, you're like not even joking either. That's so gross.
Fortunately, the last one I broke was like around 2010, and that's kind of also around the time when I started getting good at poker. But from like 2004 to 2010, I broke 4 laptops. But the 4th one, though, in my defense, it was just a reaction where I went like that, and I meant to stop my fist, but I didn't, and the screen broke. So but then threw one off the balcony. I smashed one with a baseball bat, and I threw one down the stairs. Tilt issues.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, you know what it was? The time when I smashed it with a baseball bat, that wasn't from a bad beat or anything like that.
Matty's flopped a lot of queens. Go ahead.
Yeah, he did. I actually got super tilted because Comcast went down, and I was playing like 6 tables.
Oh God. You lost your internet connection.
Yeah, those were the good old days.
Trying to catch up with the action here. It looks like, okay, now the board's changing. It was,
Whoa.
Okay, there, ace, queen, what is going on here? Ace, queen, 8 is, and Nate takes it down. So Matty did not flop a lot of queens. The board was ace, queen, 8. Richard did not like his 10s. Matty did not like his middle pair. And Nate's 5 Dewey, I believe.
Yeah.
Nate had 3 to a flush, which is like second nuts to Nate. So
either the chip counts have changed or something, but I'm pretty sure it's that Nate had 3.6 earlier, and now it says 2.7. So did we miss a big hand, or?
I'm not sure. Some of the graphics might be a little bit skewed.
Nate's just taking down a lot of pots, though. He's really taking control of this table tonight. He recognizes that the table is just playing super tight, and he's doing a great job. I mean, he's playing a super wide range of hands, which isn't always recommendable, but in a game like this where everyone's just folding and not doing anything after the flop, it could be super profitable.
We've seen Matty can be content to flop middle pair good kicker and just check
a lot of times.
Several times. So it seems like everyone's waiting for a nut or near nut hand, and here goes Azan. So Azan's finally got tired of folding. Rich opens up to 55. Azan makes it 160 to go with his ace 9. And he takes down the pot. But so it seems like everyone's pretty much waiting for a nut or near nut hand to play back at Nate with. But I think that's just a terrible strategy, because I mean, if I was that player, if I was Nate, and I was barreling, and suddenly someone finally kicks back at me, obviously they're gonna have something there, or maybe they're a perceptive player like Azan and are gonna take any hand with some post flop potential and play back. But when you're finally getting these players that are folding, and they play back at you, I mean, I just think it's so obvious that they finally found a hand. I think when a player's playing wide, sometimes you got to play wide with them, And
No, if you're at a table where we're super tight, you should definitely open up your range and play aggressively. I think Nate's adjusted really well.
Yeah.
to this lineup right now. And
Or conversely, this table is not adjusted well to Nate.
Yeah. Sean's got kings here under the gun, so he looks like he just limped there, and he's going to find himself in a big 5-way pot. That's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of limping with kings or aces early on.
I've brought this up in the stream, and it drives one thing that it's like some old school, I think, terrible play anymore, where, I mean,
I just think that you're losing value.
And here we go. Handsome George came into this pot with 9 deuce off on the button and flopped a lot of 9s. You know, if Sean opens under the gun, Handsome George is never thinking about coming in.
Interesting though to notice here, both these players have been playing extremely tight here. And oh, okay, I thought Sean just folded or something.
No, God. Oh, God.
Let's see how this one plays out.
And then he check folds the turn. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a good check fold. I think when he played his hand just atrociously, I feel. I mean, Sean's not a bad player at all, but I mean, this is like, I brought that out. I think I hate that play. Limping aces or kings, and then looking to re-raise someone who opens. I think your hand just becomes totally face up.
Yeah.
And you lose so much value versus if you just opened under the gun. And hopefully maybe get 3-bet.
Something else to notice when you're playing in a game is when it's a tight game is notice if is it tight after the flop or is it tight pre-flop?
Yeah.
And something that I'm sort of noticing in this game is that players aren't necessarily afraid to see flops, but they're just shutting down post-flop unless they hit it hard. Mm-hmm. So that's another reason why I would definitely have opened with kings there to get a little pre-flop value.
So Nate's got the straddle on. The graphic shows they raised to 20, but he's got the straddle on him. Mostly super positive. And no one's got anything to play with him. No, here comes Sean. Sean's going to complete with 7-8. Nate checks his option out of the straddle, and these guys will go heads up. And they both flop an 8. Nate flops the rest of it with top 2. Sean checks. And Nate's going to bet it. And it's a good bet by Nate because if Nate had nothing, he would bet. If he had, bottom set, he would bet. Oh, and then a disaster card for Sean. Sean has turned 2-pair to Nate's top 2.
And
Sean's probably going to check raise.
Great for Nate, especially with this image right now. Just keep firing. It's just 35. Oh, that's a super small pot.
And I think maybe Sean put in a little raise there. He did. I can't see the lighting I can't see it, but there's got to be some white chips there. Or I think Sean min raised. It was bet 35. Sean clicked back to 70, and now Nate has re-raised the turn, and Sean is to 185, and Sean is going to call to the river.
8. Oh, Jack, that was close.
I have yet to see a river. The graphic shows a jack, which isn't true. 10 of diamonds complete the diamond draw. Straight draw gets there. Check. Check, check. Diamond doesn't get there, and it saves Sean, or diamond gets there, and it saves Sean quite a bit of money there, I think.
Well, also the straight got there, too.
Straight got there. The board's 1 card off a straight. Diamonds get there.
I think that hand could have gotten a little bit bigger.
Well, it was.
But it didn't.
I mean, I think Nate was trying to probably extract some value out of a jack, or I'm sorry, out of a jack, and the check raise when you click back to 70. I think Nate was hoping by min raising back again that Sean would just commit there, and put in the 4th raise, and then they can get it in.
Sean's showing some discipline though tonight.
Yeah, folding kings on, what was it, 9-9-8-5?
Yeah. You kind of had to fold there on the turn though. I mean, once you limp in and get 5 callers or whatever it was, and then someone calls you on a paired board, you know that you're in trouble at that point.
Yeah.
but that could have been avoided if he,
If he would have opened, yeah. Kyle's had enough. Kyle's going to go ahead and put in a raise. Makes it 50 to go with an ace-10 offsuit. So I think Richard's got the straddle on here. The graphic shows that he calls 10. I'm pretty sure the $20 straddle's in. Kyle makes it 50 to go with ace-10. Kyle's not been playing a lot of hands. He's probably going to get a lot of respect here. I think ace-10 is probably the bottom of his range for opening here. Or Kyle probably thinks he's dry bluffing. And Richard is going to.
Is that a raise?
That look at raise. Look at he grabbed some white chips there, or a white chip.
Kyle, see his face.
Kyle folds. Kyle was dry bluffing with ace-10. Richard made it 245 to go, and Kyle's having none of it. Oh god. Now I'm curious, are players just going to continue playing this way? Are they going to continue waiting for a big hand? Kyle's got a decent hand here. Azan's got junk.
All right, Kyle's got a real hand.
Looks like he makes it 30 or 35 to go. Kyle raised to 30.
Maddie's gonna see a flop. Peter's gonna let go. What's Nate gonna do? Oh, he folds.
You don't play 7 gappers there? Have the small blind? Go heads up. 10 deuce 3.
Super dry flop.
First liar wins. Kyle checks.
I kind of like this check in a way. I don't like it now. But I kind of like it in the fact that I think that I'm way ahead of Maddie's range, and
It goes check, 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 check.
only problem is, yeah.
Kyle's not even in the mood to fire out a bluff. I feel like everyone's waiting to get involved in a big pot against 1 or 2 opponents, and it's just not happening right now, guys. You just gotta.
No one's biting.
No one's biting, and as it goes back to where if a player who's been playing super snug suddenly starts putting chips in, you've got to feel that he's got a real hand here, and it's going to be really tough to get paid off if you do. Solid.
I'll be right back, guys.
Kyle K is going to step out of the booth for a minute. So Azan raises up here under the gun, makes it 30 to go with ace-5 suited. Handsome George is going to just call behind him with ace-queen. Maddie makes the call. We've had difficulty seeing Maddie's cards for the most part of the night. Sean's got a playable hand, 7-4 of diamonds. And Nate has found the almighty King-8 offsuit and will complete his button. David calls, and we are going to go 6-way to the flop. Jack 8-3, couple of clubs. Nate's got middle pair. No one with a jack or clubs out there that we can see, of course. 10 of hearts on the turn. Handsome George has got a gut shot. 5 of diamonds. No hope for anybody, really. Zahn checks his 5. Sean checks his air. And Nate will bring in the pot, pending that David doesn't have anything in the big blind. David's got the 9s I see from David. Looks like 9s from David. Eggs and Soderbergh asked why Kyle doesn't c-bet there. I don't know. Kyle Kitagawa, that is. He says that he liked the check there. Just because he feels that he's ahead of Maddie's range there. And so I imagine that you're checking with the intention to bet the turn, bet river. But on such a dry board, I lean much more towards c-betting. And we've seen Matty like be content to fold anything but top pair better. And I'm really surprised that Kyle did not fire. And of course, now in this hand, Nate, who's been playing the most hands, his picked up aces.
Oh, someone finally got aces tonight.
It's just a great spot for Nate, who now looks away, pretends to be disinterested in the hand.
Oh my god, it's Nate.
Nate's got aces. Raises to 40, and we talked about that earlier. He looks away, acts disinterested. Rich makes a call. No, Rich puts in a 3-bet to 150 with King 7 off the button. It's gonna chase all the limpers out.
Wait, what? Oh, wait.
Nate opened at 40 and Rich 3-bet to 150. Now, if you're Nate,
this is bad timing for Richard.
Nate, you can put in the 4-bet, you can flat and then check raise the flop.
At this point, I think I'm just going to flat here.
I love flatting when I get 3-bet here and then look to get a party going on the flop.
And again, these are the two biggest stacks at the table.
Two biggest stacks, the two most active players. There could be a little bit of leveling here. The other thing he can do is put in the 4-bet like he does and hope that Rich thinks that he's just making a move. It's not a big 4-bet, 350, and Rich is done with it. No, he made a play, it didn't work, he's out of the pot.
Yeah, I like flatting there for a couple of reasons. Number one, with the stack size, I mean, obviously you definitely want to play for stacks, but in this case, facing a 4-bet with when you're that deep, there's only a very few hands that Richard's going to be ready to commit more chips to, I think, before the flop.
Exactly.
And so that's why I like flatting with aces there, and hopefully Richard hits something on the flop or.
Yeah, and especially when, like I said, when you're a player like Nate, who's been playing so many hands, I think your opponent is going to be c-betting a lot wider than if it was anyone else.
That's true as well.
So I think you can count on being able to get that check raised in on the flop, more so versus if you were a snug player. If you're a snug player and you go for that move, it might not work as well.
So Eggs and Soda Burp is talking about the hand where Kyle checked his ace-queen down against Matty's jack-8.
Yeah, that's why isn't that c-betting there?
And like I said, originally when that hand played out, I actually kind of liked that check, and I think the reason I'm agreeing with Eggs and Soda Burp is that I think that Kyle knows that his range is way ahead against Matty, and Matty's going to be folding almost a lot of hands there. I don't know. It's kind of a weird play, but I think it made sense in that case. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and he probably feels that his ace-queen had showdown value.
And see, I'm on the side where I feel because Matty's been folding so many hands, so anything less than top pair, and that c-betting there is going to get your opponent off of 8s, 9. I mean.
I think Kyle just wants to play a bigger pot, to be honest.
Yeah, Kyle could have been going for a check raise there, and then when it checked back, he just the jig gets up and just get rid of the hand. So Richard opens up here to 20. Kyle raises the 75 out of the small blind. Matty calls 65 Queen Jack, 777. Kyle's got a full boat.
Now let's see what he does.
I think he bets 100, and Matty's content to fold.
Has Matty?
Go ahead.
Has Matty won a pot tonight?
I think he has. Yeah. He won that Jack 8 versus Ace Queen hand. he just won a hand, Kyle. God, you're the worst. Peter's under the gun, so he'll be playing aces or better. Azan has got the best hand he's seen all night. And we'll probably be 3-betting here just because, He's been that dry all night.
About 50.
Looks like 45, 50, 45. So, couple limpers. Azan makes it 45 to go with ace jack. Matty calls out of the big blind with a 5 deuce.
All right.
Nate's gonna, of course, be priced in, and David's gonna be priced in as well. No, David folds. 4-6 deuce, and Matty flops the best of it. Matty's got a pair and an inside straight draw.
Second time we've seen Matty play Deuce 5 today too, right?
Yeah, it is.
And I think both times he flopped like a super low straight draw pair type flop. I wonder if that's his favorite hand. I should ask him.
It's a bad board for Azan's range. He's gonna c-bet it anyway. And I feel like you probably should.
Dry flop.
Yeah, super dry flop. It's bad for most of your opponent's range. Azan gets there.
And knowing Matty, well, he does have a draw, but I don't think. Got a
draw, pair and a draw.
Call much.
105.
105.
Matty calls. 10 of hearts. And Azan doesn't even get the bet out on the river before Matty folds. That's always a comforting feeling. Got a fan out there in the chat box. Cali Kid in the house.
What's up, guys?
So hopefully we get the deck to cooperate with us a little bit better and get some more hands out there. And Richard's picked up jacks.
And Zon's got a playable hand too. Wow, look at that. George has the same hand.
Sean limps. Comes over to Richard. We know he's going to open here. Rich makes it 60 to go with the jacks. Azan's tired of being card dead, and he's going to call Queen 10. Handsome George will not call Queen 10 on the button. And Sean, who limped under the gun, we've seen him do that with kings.
He's going to let it go.
Gonna let it go. 10-5-7, and Azan might be in a little bit of trouble. I don't think Azan's going to lose his mind here with top pair, backdoor spades, but we've seen Rich get creative tonight, and Azan probably feels that he's got the best hand right now. Rich bets 110. It was a big open from Rich. I don't think there wasn't a straddle. Sean had limped for 10, and Rich made it 60 to go.
I like the call here by Azan.
Ace is probably going to slow things down.
Yeah, it's going to slow things down.
Going to kill the action.
Azan does have position, and he's played pretty tight, so he could definitely represent an ace if Richard checks it, but
Richard knows better.
Yeah.
Now Richard would probably fold if Azan raised here, but Azan, he can't like the ace either. It's a strong bet by Richard, 255. And I got a feeling Azan's probably going to let this go.
Azan's thinking in his head, God, this guy's so lucky, but...
And the other side of it is Rich, and Rich has been, in the past, tonight he's been playing mostly snug, but in the past has played a lot wider, a lot more aggressive, and he's maybe getting back into that rhythm. And Azan's really thinking about it here. He can't flat here, I think. I think he's gotta either pop it and represent the ace, a hand like ace 10, like that ace X of clubs, you know. He's either gotta pop it or fold, and he folds.
The other thing to mention here is, you know, when players go in the tank like that, and then they do pop it, you have to wonder what they're thinking about for that long, too, at the same time.
Yes.
Just something to point out.
So generally, obviously it's player and situation, you know, specific. But when you find a player thinking for an extended period of time, and they're in the tank for that long, and then they raise you, you're more inclined to think more like, hey, they're getting creative, or they're kind of being speculative.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta wonder what you gotta be aware that they're a thinking player, and you know, that they're certainly probably capable of representing the ace in that
Yes.
spot. And some players you can just tell when they're in the tank for real versus just
Yeah.
killing time and thinking about how much to raise.
I think players oftentimes when they are doing that, they'll give off other reads and other tells. They'll chip glance or glance at their chips.
Yeah.
And you can tell the difference between a real tank and a fake tank. You know,
Yeah.
players, and sometimes they'll grab their chips early and they'll kind of already cut out some more chips and they'll kind of put them back and hem-haw around and players are bad at faking it.
Yeah, we got another hand here between Nate and Richard. Gutter and another nut flush draw for Nate.
And I think Rich has kind of had it. I think he's tried playing snug. It's just not him. Richard is at his best when he's putting people on the defensive. When he's the aggressor, when he's playing, he's got the 82 cards image, and I think Richard is going to start opening up here for us. Now Nate's got a hand.
Neither player seems very interested in this hand right now either.
Right. And there's Nate for Nate. God. When you're running good, you're running good.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, now in Nate's defense, I think we made the comment, or I made the comment earlier about him staring off and acting disinterested. There is a TV right behind the dealer that has the Kings game on. I just realized that. and Nate, as you can see by all the Kings gear, it's probably somewhat of a fan. So I apologize. I was probably way off in my read there. And that's probably what I would get in that hand. I'd be like, look, he's acting disinterested. He's looking away from the table.
Look at that.
Board double pairs. And Nate's gonna put out a little baby bet. And Richard points out, like that's the size of your bet, really? Rich folds. Little blocker bet. But yeah, that would totally be me, where I would be like, oh look, he's looking away. He's disinterested. He's Hollywooding here, and like no, he's just watching the Kings game. I would level myself into folding. Kings are playing. I don't know if they're winning. Are the Kings good this year? Do you know?
They're not that good.
Okay.
I don't think.
I have no idea. We'll ask Nate later.
Yeah. I'm not from Sacramento, so I don't actually follow the Kings.
Warriors?
Yeah.
There you go.
They're having a good year.
Yeah, they are. Maddie's gonna min raise here, make it 20 to go. Out of the cutoff.
Deuce 5. Probably Deuce 5.
Probably Deuce 5. It's been Maddie's go-to hand. It's probably Deuce 5 of spades.
Yeah.
Sean's first act here. He checked. I can't see you putting a Maddie bet 75.
It's gonna work.
Good to take down the pot. Look at stack sizes there. Rich still got around 4K. Nate's got 3.5. David's got a healthy stack, as does Kyle G.
Yeah,
we've had
still not a lot of movement.
Yeah, we've had a couple opportunities for some big hands, but either the board ran out bad or the players thought better of it. Haven't had the super coolers that we are really, that we would like to see. Not that we're ever rooting for people to lose money, but this is a live stream. We are doing this for entertainment, not just educational purposes.
Sean's gonna open for 30 on the button, and Nate has a weak offsuit ace here.
And I believe Richard's flopped a straight. 5-7-9. And Rich flicks in a quarter. Sean's got middle pair. He's in the call and Nate's out of the way. And Sean has now turned another two pair that is no good. And now Rich comes out with some real chips.
This is not Sean's
150. Sean is just.
I like this bet. It's a pot-sized bet here. He's got. Well, now it's the second nuts, but how can you put Sean on?
Yeah, you'd have to ice him down to one hand and one hand only here. I think if you're Sean, you gotta at least call one call here. I'm sure he doesn't love that bet by Rich. Board pairs, not the way that Sean needed it to. Rich is still good here. Now Rich is probably. Don't tell me it goes check check. It went check check. So vanilla. So vanilla. It's really a good. I mean, sure, yes. Now Rich is losing to the Jack 9.
Yeah.
He's losing to the 9-7. But I mean, Sean's probably got a lot of on the turn, a lot of 9-10, ace-9. He's gotta have a lot of nines there.
I
so
think he gets value from quite a few hands still.
Yeah.
The betting on the river.
And I mean, Sean's his jacks and 7s got counterfeited or to jacks and 9s. But if you're Rich, yeah, I think long term you're making more money there by betting. I think your opponent's gonna have a lot of that.
Yeah. Oh, Azan. He's got a hand, and be interesting to see if Sean comes along. I'm sure he'll probably. You know what? Azan's in the big blind, so
Sean raised.
probably
Yeah.
gonna.
Sean makes it 35 to go with ace jack suited, and Azan's gonna just call with ace king. Matty comes along as well. Good flop for Azan. 8-9 deuce, couple of clubs, which is exactly what Azan needed.
Man, he's
And
got
it
a
checks
getter.
through.
Wow, how did that check through?
Azan was, I think,
Azan was going for the check raise.
He was going for the check raise and didn't get there.
This game just isn't playing
And,
aggressive
yeah.
enough post flop though to go for that check raise. I don't think.
I feel the same
Especially
way.
in a three-way pot.
If Nate and or Rich were in position, had been the original pre-flop aggressor, and where they're gonna be much more likely to put in a continuation bet, whether they got there, whether they hit it or not. I think the check raise is not such a bad idea. But when the players that you're in the pot with there, like you brought out, had been playing so passively on the flop.
What was the board? It was 2 clubs and
8-6 8-6 deuce.
6 deuce.
I think.
Yeah, especially 3-way.
As it was, Azan took down the pot, put out a little bet on the turn, and took it down. So Handsome George here, he's opened up the action under the gun, ace jack offsuit, made it 50 to go. Peter calls 50. Kyle's card dead. King 7-3, couple of clubs. George, who started the action here, he's going to put out a continuation bet. That's a quarter.
Has to.
I think he bet more than a quarter there, right? don't tell me he bet a quarter.
Against Peter, do you really need to bet more than a quarter?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just. But there we go. Continuation betting. He had the best hand, but especially when your head's up, you got to be getting those C-bets in. Rich is back at the table. Sean's got an ace-king and is just going to limp in and then look away from the game and act disinterested. I'm calling it now. He's acting. There's no game behind him. Wait, there is. David limps in. Azan limps
Sean's
in.
gonna. Oh, I know. Yeah. Sean likes to limp with his premiums.
Yeah. Queen 7-3, rainbow.
Try flop, but it's 4 ways, so.
Azan flicks in a quarter. So here's a quarter for the coffee. And
Sean
Sean's.
says, why not?
I got 2 overs. I hope and a dream. Good card for Azan. He's going to turn a flush draw and inside straight draw to go with it. And you got to bet here if you're Azan. If you're going to ever think about triple barreling, maybe make it 75 to go here. No. Close to it with it. 65. And it'll do the trick.
Yep. So
Rich has stepped away again. Nate's stepped away. They're probably, you know, debating, oh God, should we just like pretend to have like a 4K pot here and ship it the next hand?
Still haven't seen him play.
Yeah, I haven't seen David play either. I talked David up a little bit. David, he's a real solid player, but no one's really had the cards to work with to play a lot of bloody hands. Of course, as soon as I say that, Sean picks up jacks.
The only player we've really seen play any 2 cards aggressively is Nate, and he's away from the table right now, but
Kyle G is 9s. And Sean has limped again with another premium.
yeah.
And
We might get something out of Kyle though. The question is he gonna raise with jacks?
Kyle makes it 35 to go. Handsome George is going to come along with King Jack suited. Matty calls with an ace. And here goes Sean.
Super squeeze now with 3 other players.
He's grabbing some white chips. And there goes a limp re-raise. And Ray makes it 3 bills to go. And that will be the end of the hand. Did not want to see a flop with jacks. What do you bet he shows it? Shows it? No, it doesn't show it. I was really expecting like, oh, what do you want me to do with these kind of speech he sees from so many players.
Another tricky play there by Sean.
I think you make more money if you open. I think he was lucky to get as much money as he did out of it when Kyle opening, getting 2 players to call Kyle's open. So Sean's under the gun here. Did not find a big pair to limp re-raise with, so he's out. Nate comes in the pot. Nate limps in. Because he's got 2 cards that are not more than a gap away from each other. Matty will complete his small blind. Azan makes it 30 to go.
30.
Peter's going to make the call out of the big blind. Don't know what he has. Matty called with his 3s, and Nate's in as well. Ace Queen forward.
So Azan's got top pair here. We don't know what Peter's got, but anytime Peter's in the hand, I feel like he's got like a decent starting hand.
This is one of those spots, if I'm Azan, where I can, in my mind, just like checking back here, because you have so much showdown value and you really don't want to play a big pot here, ace 9. And I think you induce a lot of bluffs from your opponents on the turn by checking back.
At the same time, he does have position, and they're all checking. So
yeah.
Either way, I can see that going down.
Yeah, I think I have no problem with him betting there.
Now if the queen shows up, if Peter checks, I'm definitely checking though.
Absolutely. Yep. And if Peter leads, Azan's gonna call but hate it.
Yeah.
Because Peter, I mean, I could even see Azan folding.
Yeah, what can he beat here? He has no kicker. He can't beat the queen. You know Peter's
he's
just
got
that flop hits his range somehow, so.
If Peter has any ace, he's beat. In reality, I mean, Peter's really not, I think playing a lot of ace 8 these days.
Yeah, I don't think Peter's betting like an ace 7 or ace 8 or worse, so.
No. I mean, Peter could have pocket 4s. I mean, he really could. He could have 4s full right now, and I think Azan. I don't think folding against Peter. I don't think this is a bad fold. Against me, he should never fold. Against me or Kyle K, he should never fold. But against Peter, I don't think folding's terrible. We don't even know what Peter has, and I think folding. If I was in his on seat, I would lean very much toward folding. But this goes back to where I was in the flop, where checking back here, I think And I think that's a good fold by Azan. Against Peter, you're ahead of nothing. It shows a 5. Oh.
Queen 5.
Right?
Queen 5?
He shows a 5 of diamonds.
Well, here's another way to look at it. I mean, once you check behind on the turn, which is probably the best play just for pot size control. And because,
are you then committing to then calling the river?
What I'm going to say is that once you check behind on that turn and show a little bit of weakness, it does allow for Peter to, try to represent or try to steal it.
You induce bluffs out of your opponent.
That's the downside of playing if you're your strong hands weak.
You're probably gonna if you're gonna check back the turn there, you probably got to be committed to calling a bet on the river because. And of course, I think he would have rather not see the bet come out of Peter.
Yeah,
but
for sure. But in general, if you're gonna slow play, that's one of the downsides of slow playing. I mean, I wouldn't say that was necessarily a slow play.
But playing pot control poker.
Yeah.
Well, on the bright side, you do induce bluffs out of your opponent, which obviously, I mean, unless Peter had the Queen 5, Peter was very beat. Peter probably had Ace 5. Yeah. And probably thought his ace was good.
I don't think he shows the 5 otherwise. Kyle with top 2 pair now, but it's gonna be hard to get anything out of these guys with this, given what they're holding. This could be a spot where he might even want to check it.
That's Queen 10-7, 2 spades. There's.
Yeah, no, you gotta bet it.
I think you gotta bet. Yeah. You gotta bet.
So many
your opponent
draws
got a piece. So many draws. And even if you have the by way of the best hand, there's so many cards that can come off on the turn that are either gonna give your opponent a draw that can beat you or just kill your action. So I think if you're gonna put in a bet there, you got to do it now. So Rich is under the gun. I think Rich straddled. I believe there's a $20 straddle from Rich. He's gonna wake up with King Jack when he looks down. Azan's got Jacks, makes it 50 to go. And it's gonna fold, it looks like to Nate, who's gonna make the call. And Rich, he's calling as well.
All right, we got 3 players to the flop. Azan's picking up some hands lately, so
King 8-7. So Rich is out flopped everyone as far as we can tell. We can't see Nate's cards. Nate leads 75. We've seen Nate do this. We've seen Nate lead.
He usually has something. He might have like an 8 again or something.
And you're in a real tough spot here if you're Rich because you probably have the best hand, but you do got to worry about Azan being behind you. I think Rich would have much rather check called and played with Azan. And I think, did Rich put in a raise here? Yes, he did. Looks like Rich made it, what, 2 1/4? Yep, 225. So Nate leads for 75. And Azan calls.
Wow.
He thinks that Rich has got a lot of draws here.
Are we still 3-handed to the turn?
No. Nate folded. Nate led 75. Rich made it 2 1/4. Azan flatted. Now Rich bets 350.
Wow.
So Azan's thinking hard draw, straight draw, and it's got to wonder though if Rich just had a draw, would he keep firing the turn, or would he try to get to the river for cheap? Does Azan turn his hand into a bluff here?
Wait, all right. So on the turn,
Rich bet 350. And
I mean on the flop.
On the flop, Azan called the 2 1/4. Called the 2 1/4 with Jacks. And I think Azan's going to be more than happy to check back this if Rich does check. And I think Azan's going to immediately check back. And hope
I don't.
Yep. So the action on the flop was Nate bet 75. Rich made it 2 1/4 with his King Jack. Azan called the 2 1/4 with Jacks on King 7.
I think Azan called the 75 first, right?
No.
Because he was +2. And then
no, because the button was like on Peter. Oh. So yeah, Nate led 75. Rich made it 2 1/4. Azan called 2 1/4 with Jacks, thinking that maybe Rich is probably popping it with a draw there. And maybe Rich is just popping it because it's Nate, you know?
Yeah.
And his jacks might be good. I was a little bit surprised to see him call the 350 on the turn. But once he did, I think he was very happy for it to go check. And if Rich had a big draw and it missed, he was going to be good. The hard spot would have been if Rich would have bet. Now, Rich has got so much showdown value. I don't think he's betting King Jack there a ton on the river. But if you're Zahn and you call it 350 on the turn, I think you're thinking that your opponent's got a draw and he missed, or has a draw. So if Rich had a draw and missed, you know, the 9 got there. If Rich would have bet something like 800, can a Zahn hero call there? That would have been interesting.
That would have been really interesting. Yeah. Obviously, these two players have a little bit of history with each other too. I think that definitely plays a factor in how Zahn made that call on the turn.
That's the spot. So like on King 7-8, if you had like the 9, if you had a super draw, you had like the 9-10 of hearts, and you flopped an open-end straight draw flush draw, and you river 9, you're not thinking that your 9 is good.
No way.
You're probably still barreling there.
Yeah.
You got to try to take out the pot.
Yeah, it's the only way you can win. Yeah.
And it just really, I really would have been curious to see what Zahn would have done when he called the 350 on the turn. What he would have done had Rich bet the river. But I think if you're Rich, you're never betting that river just because of the action with Nate leading, him raising, a Zahn calling there, Zahn, ace king, king queen, there's a lot of better kings.
Sean just rivered a flush against
over Richard's flush.
Richard's flush.
We were flush over flush, and it went pitter patter somehow. And we had a $140 pot, flush over flush.
Sick. He had 3 of a kind already. How do you lose that?
Did he really?
Yeah, he had 3 10s and a flush draw.
And he rivered the flush.
He rivers the flush.
Oh god. See, in the spot where maybe I'd be ready to put money in too. These are the kind of hands that people are checking back here.
Yeah.
If they're checking back trips and checking back flushes, what are they putting money in with? God, I'd be playing scared too. They're playing the nuts are better. No, I'm lying. I'd be going bananas. I'd be in for so many bullets right now. It'd be gross. So Peter's gonna raise here to 45. Sean's gonna call 45, King Jack of clubs. Nate's gonna call Queen 7 of diamonds. There he goes. Rich is out of the way. David's not playing. Ace-6 deuce. Couple of clubs for Sean. Matty made the call with his ace-6. He's got the ace of clubs to go with it, and he leads out. Or, I'm sorry. He makes it 115.
And if you're Sean, with the ace out there,
or bet 7, but I'm confused by the graphic. So Peter calls, I think it's bet 70. The action shows raise 115, but I think Matty led for 70. I'm confused here a little bit. I apologize. And it's 115. I think Peter calls 115 here.
So if you're Sean here, what do you think?
I think you overcall. I don't think you're ever thinking about raising. Is this pre-flop? No.
Wait, I'm so confused right now.
Right?
We saw a flop. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we saw a flop. Did we not? Yes.
Maybe not.
I think we did. I think the graphics are just messing us up right now. Yeah, ace-6 deuce. Yes. 10. Sean adds an inside straight draw. And Matty's going to come out firing. We don't know what Peter had. Peter, I believe, was the original aggressor. At this point, you got to give Peter credit for an ace.
Yeah.
Matty's firing. He's calling. And I think for Sean here...
What's it bet? 150? 200-ish?
I think if you're Sean...
275, that's actually a pretty big pop, but he's getting 3-1 on his money. How many chips does he have? He has about 1,200 or so.
I think he's got, yeah. If you put, oh, and he would have got there. Absolutely sickening. I think the way that action goes, you got to put Peter on a strong ace.
Yeah.
And there he is, ace king. And oh, and Matty had ace-6. Matty flops 2 pair. The two players that were in the pot, the way they were putting chips in the pot, you got to give them credit for strong hands.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to, if you're not getting laid the right price immediately, but I think with the implied odds there, you got to figure out one of these guys, if a club comes, is gonna pay you off.
Yeah.
And I figure they're probably gonna check it over to you, but you can probably stick in, a pretty unreasonable bet, 800, 850, maybe 9, and get a call. The only hard part would have been. The only hard part, I think, would have been for considering Sean's stack size. If he only has 1,200 behind, betting 800 out of your 1,200 stack screams value bet. Screams call me. You know what I'm saying? It's sometimes balancing the right size bet versus at that point, is it going to look? Are you better just to ship it, and can you get someone to call off 1,200? So that might have been the only part if Sean's really, if I'm playing devil's advocate here, I'm trying to defend Sean for folding the turn. I gotta think I would think if I was in Sean's spot that one of these guys would call off a bet. The only hard part would be with stack sizes. I think if Sean's got like 3K behind him, you can bet 800 and it looks pretty normal. 900 and it looks pretty, if you got 1,200 or 1,000 and you're trying to bet 800, it just screams like, please call me.
Richard, still the big stack at the table.
I really would have rather see him call there. Rum Cake, Scott Ball in the chat box. You know Scott?
I don't know, do I?
Scott runs, he's I think like the poker manager for Twitch. Kind of handles the poker department.
I don't think I've met him yet.
Great guy. Real solid poker player. He's actually been on the stream before. I think he played in our I don't know, it's 5-10 or 5-5. They played in the 5-5 game, I believe. It was a real deep 5-5 game.
Okay.
Broke some hearts and bankrolls. It was good. No, Scott's a great guy. So, Handsome George opens up here to 40 with a Jack-10 suited. I love that. Matty's right behind him, and he makes it 165 go with pocket jacks.
Let's see some fireworks. Let's go.
Blood. Blood, everyone folds. I am Horcrusher says, scared money don't make money. I can't deny it. I think you're right. You gotta be willing, you're not gonna win anything if you don't put any money in the pot. I think you gotta be willing to put some chips out there and steal some hands and go for value sometimes. I mean, I think if you're constantly playing in a manner where you're scared of the nuts, you're just gonna get run over and you're gonna lose value in the times that you're good. So you gotta be willing to lose some chips sometimes. God knows I am.
So am I.
Barrels. Barrels.
If you guys are looking for a pretty good game though coming up February 8th, there is going to be a PLO / Hold'em 5-5
half game.
There'll be one round of Hold'em, one round of PLO, and I will be playing that, and I don't know what I'm doing, so I promise you I will do something crazy that you guys can all talk about, and Jason Veronica will just have a blast.
I know that you're not like, it's like there's some people who are like, oh, I don't know anything about this, like come down and play with me, but like you're not joking. You don't play PLO, and you're gonna be in this game. I don't know what you're doing.
What's the minimum buy-in? Like 200?
No, it's more. No, we're not gonna let you come for $200. I don't know what.
Shoot!
Fire.
I feel like I'm playing Baccarat or something.
Oh my God!
It is 200 at a time.
It's a $200 minute.
Guys, I'm not looking.
Yeah, just ship it. Oh my God. Yeah, February 8th, half. 5-5 PLO, 5-5. No limit hold'em. And the live stream game, we'll be playing 1-3 PLO in the outer tables, as well as we'll be pushing some limit Omaha 8 as well. There'll be a 50K Omaha jackpot that night only. Any quad 8s or better beat, which in Omaha is easy to do. So Yeah, cracking quad eight.
That'd be awesome if it hit on the live stream.
Oh yeah, that'd be nuts, right? It'd be insane.
It'll probably be me.
Yeah. You'll shove your $200 in there and wake up like 20K richer.
Yes.
Should be shaking their head at you.
You want to buy some of my action that night?
Oh God! If you're buying $200 barrels, I just like the margins are so thin in PLO. Like it might not be a bad deal because he's gonna see all 5 cards. That's for sure. And it's with my luck, I'll buy action off of you, and you'll be playing like Ace Deuce 3-4 and think that we're playing high like 8 or better.
I actually did play a 8 or better tournament though.
Pot limit or a limit?
I think it was limit, but I might have been. I don't remember. It was a few months ago.
And this guy is going to be playing 5-5 PLO, ladies and gentlemen.
I actually thought I was doing really well because I almost made it to the bubble.
You know, that's probably doing really well.
Yeah.
For playing more card poker and not having a.
It's super fun though. It's a super fun game.
Oh, it's a great game. It's a great game. Yeah. 7 deuce. I am Horcrusher says that you'd want a bomb pot for $50. You probably get more out of them out of the lineup. I think that we have setting up for the half game. You probably get a lot bigger bomb pots out of that.
Guys, I'm selling action for $50 bomb pots.
Oh God. Yeah, we were playing bigger bomb pots.
Bomb pot Omaha. It's called BPO.
BPO.
Yeah. Coming to you to a card room near you.
BPO. I love that.
There's a lot of strategy in that.
Yeah. And you turn 1 pre, 1 flop.
It's all about the peel, you know.
It's
like
all how you
if you
peel
peel one card and you can either peel it like this way one at a time, or you can peel from this way. There's a lot of strategy in the
There's a lot of strategy in how you peel.
It's just like Baccarat.
Yeah. Jesus.
I mean, you just.
Kyle opens up here with Jack 10 of diamonds. Has flopped himself a couple of diamonds. 8-8-3 is our flop. A couple ace deuces in the hand and a queen 7 got mixed up in it somehow.
Rumcake says bomb pots are sick. They are. It's the next big thing in poker. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a bracelet event in a couple years at the WSOP.
BPO.
PPO. I would say it'd be probably good practice to make it like unlimited rebuys.
I could just see you doing that, having an event where
What? Oh wait, never mind. I thought someone flopped quads and I'm tripping.
Wow. I can see them doing that where like X amount of dollars goes in on every street and you got to peel one and then you can either fold or call.
Yeah.
That'd be, oh God, don't even start something. What's up, Nit Romney? Kenny 1984 asks, when does the 10 1/4 played at Stones? We've had 2 10 1/4 games so far on our live stream, I believe. So far we've been doing one per month. So the next 10 1/4 game would be February. Exact date to be determined. Probably get in touch with Roger Bailey, 2-Pair Poker Tour, and he'll let us know when the next 10 1/4 game is scheduled. Willie asked, "What are bomb pots?" That's where we just bludgeoningly put money in the pot. We don't look at our cards, and we run out of board, and may the best man win.
Yep. It's
showdown. Science. Sean's got Ace King in the small blind. As soon as it comes around to him, he'll probably fold. I don't know. Roger Bailey says February 3rd. So there we go. So the week before our half Omaha night here at Stones, we will have a 10 1/4 game, February 3rd. Mark your calendars. Ship It Poker says no one uses card protectors anymore. No. We do not use card protectors here. So we should have a hand here. Come on, people.
all right. We got Ace King.
David
versus
has made it
Queens.
60 to go under the gun. Sean is in the small blind with Ace King. Maddie called 60 in the cutoff.
And this is David that opened, and we have not seen him play very many hands here. So
I'll get back to I'll address what Scott Ball Rumcake has said. He made it. So Sean makes it 260 to go. And what do you do if you're David? This is the same David folds. In David's defense, this is the same guy that we've seen limp and then check fold kings on the turn. And now we're seeing this guy put in a big bet here.
Yeah, wow.
It's a pretty snug fold.
Well, that's the first hand he's played all night.
So Scott Ball Rumcake says, and maybe they play it differently. He says bomb pots where you put in like 10 bigs in pre, and then and everyone sees a flop, and then you get action after that, and then it's normal action.
That's one way to do it. I think the way that we were referring to is everyone puts in say $50 and then run the flop, the turn, and the river.
That's why I always bomb pot.
The fun way to do it though is instead of turning over everyone's cards at the beginning, it's face down. You run the board out, and then you peel one card, like so.
Yeah, you go one card at a time.
You peel one card, then I peel one card, then you peel your second card, I peel my second card, and
that's
then
the way
third, fourth.
That's the way I've always done it.
Way
and
ever.
I've done it where like maybe you peel one on the turn maybe.
Yeah,
and hold them, maybe everyone peels one on the turn.
So we got a new player here in seat 4.
New player in 4.
George is out, and who's this guy? We don't know. He's
I recognize him. He's played, and actually, I don't think we've yet to have him on the live stream itself, but he's played in a bunch of our live stream games, the 5-5 games, or the 5-10 games for sure. And I want to say he played 10 1/4 after the stream went off as well.
Okay.
Is that one of the trans, if I'm not mistaken?
Oh, is he? Okay.
It might be. I think it is.
Be pretty cool to get JC Tran in here.
He won't return my phone calls.
Really?
Yeah. His lawyer said something restraining order. I don't know, but.
But yeah, the other way you can bomb pot is everyone agrees to put in like $50 pre-flop, and then you actually play the hand out normally post-flop.
Yeah.
We used to do that occasionally in a 5-10 game out here in Sacramento a couple of years ago. Peter used to be in that game. Yeah.
Matty makes it 45 to go with ace-8 suited. Nate's gonna make the call with 6-8 of diamonds. 9-10-5. Nothing for anybody. Nate's got an inside straight draw. Turns a diamond draw to go with it. Sorry. And Nate takes down the pot. Claw 1988 says, no, that's not one of the trans. No. Okay, my mistake. Thought that was one of JC's brothers. I get...
Yeah, the 5-10 game I was referring to used to be at Royale, and they used to hop around various clubs around Sacramento.
You get around a lot.
Yeah.
They could definitely use a bomb pot here.
Use a bomb pot here.
Absolutely. Get some blood in there. See Jason McRoberts in the house. He's cruising around. No doubt playing anything but premiums.
See Eric the Mailman's in here too somewhere. Do they have a feeder game now? I think they might have a feeder game.
We might have a feeder game. What do you see, Mailman?
I saw him wandering in here earlier.
Okay. So back to the action here. TD, our new player in seat 4, he's gonna raise to 35. Matty's gonna call behind him with the ace-jack. Nate calls with his pocket eights. Richard thinks better of it on the button. to the flop. Queen, queen, deuce.
Queen, deuce.
It's the nuts or nothing right now on the flop.
So TD checks.
And if you're Nate here, you put out a little bet.
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely see where your eights are at. You got position. If you bet now, you might get you to the river for free or for cheap. You could have the best hand. That's 35. TD calls 35. 10 of hearts. So probably go check, check. Nine of clubs. TD's gonna lead here. That's 50. And Nate's thinking about it.
So we don't know what TD has here. If he did have a queen, it is likely that he would check this flop into a three-way pot.
I'd be led to believe he would kind of bet larger on the river.
Maybe, but after
Nate's gonna
Nate,
cut chips. Wow.
it looks like raising chips.
Nate makes it 2-10 to go. It's a great raise for Nate.
Yeah.
And pretty much TD's got to, for the most part, fold anything but a queen here. Queen or a straight. He's going to grab the chips. And
If he calls here, he
what's the worst hand that he can call here with? He calls 160. And if he calls 160, he's probably good. I don't think he's calling sevens or worse. And did Nate just... We're not going to see it. I haven't too fast. He scooped it in. Ah, killing me.
Who won the pot?
TD made the call and Nate mucked.
Okay.
I think Nate knows
Yeah.
that TD's not hero calling ace high there, or sevens or worse. So Nate just rather decided to muck. We got a question. What are your thoughts when someone is playing with a cell phone in the middle of the hand that they're involved in?
You probably shouldn't do that. But I see it happen all the time in cash games. Try to put your phone down in the middle of the hand. I think it's up to the dealer to kind of
Tell the player,
Yeah.
inform the player that he's not being courteous to his other players.
yeah. Just slows down the game too.
I agree. So Peter's going to open up here to 35. Rich is going to call 35, 6-8 of clubs. TD makes a call. He's feeling good about himself. King 7 off. Good enough. Jack, Jack 10. So someone said that TD had a 9 and it was swept in. It's a great call.
Oh, yeah. Queen 9? Or
He did. They said a 9. He could have.
a 9 came on the river, huh?
Yes.
That's a pretty good call. Ace 9?
I'm gonna say it. Tough to call the flop ace 9 out of position. It was queen deuce, yes?
Yeah, but ace high might be good there.
What are you guys doing?
Causing trouble.
Oh my god. Do you want me to transfer your tab over to Brittany in case you keep ordering more?
Sure, please, thank you.
Alright, Peter is gonna fire the turn, or no, he called it.
Rich has got to bet if he's gonna win. Peter checks, and Rich is gonna put out pretty decent sized bet. We're looking at about a pot sized bet, maybe larger.
About 225.
Makes a pot size bet and gets him to fold. Gets Peter to fold the best hand.
Nice barrel.
So Scott Ball says, rum cake in the chat box says, when you think someone's c-betting 100% of the range on a flop, ace high is good a lot of times. So yeah, I suppose that TD could have had ace 9 there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Ace 9 and just check call the flop, see what develops on the turn. The turn goes check check. River's a 9 and makes a good call. Yeah, I can see that. Good
It's a
point.
really good call though against a raise though on the river.
Yeah.
If he did in fact have ace 9.
Well, and perhaps the hole or the leak in Nate's betting line there was not betting the turn.
Yeah.
You know, if you are betting a queen,
Yeah.
then
The
you're.
only thing is that if he gets lucky with king jack or something.
That's the one thing. Yeah. And if
Azan's got 9s.
he had, let's say, jacks, 8s, he'd probably be much more content to just call the river than raise, because really you're only raising the river there with a queen
All right, we
or
got the
king jack.
mailman joining us in seat 3.
Oh, there we go. King 7-3. Azan's 9s do not connect. Peter bet 75. Nate's got a pair and is looking to make a call.
Backdoor flush draw as well.
Backdoor hearts. And Azan's going to overcall with his 9s here. Wow. Azan's not having it.
Azan play second pair, called with second pair now a couple times.
Oh, Azan put in a raise.
Oh,
Azan made it
okay. That makes a
245. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Okay, Azan makes it 245 to go with his 9s. And Peter calls 170 more.
I can see how this play could work against a different lineup, but when Peter's the one leading out,
Yeah.
we never know. Maybe you can get Peter to fold.
There was no 3-bet, so
Yeah.
so Azan's probably ruling ace king out of Peter's range here, so he thinks he can get him off a king queen or worse. That's me how the second game looks. I can't see the second game right now. Yeah, we are watching the delay. Yes, we are watching the 25-30 minute delay.
I think Azan's got a fire here, but he looks like he likes to check.
And now he's conceding now. Ace king, wow! Peter flatted ace king pre.
See, I just don't. I don't know about that raise on the flop against a super tight player there. If you're not gonna continue with a bet on the turn when it's a weak card like a 4.
Yeah. And when Peter, you really got to kind of, I guess, commit to 3-barreling there. If you,
Yeah.
Now, mind you, he doesn't think that Peter's got ace king. There was no 3-bet pre-flop. Even a player as snug as Peter generally is 3-betting hands like ace king, especially that they're considering that they're going to be out of position. If you're thinking that you're trying to get Peter off a king queen or worse there,
Yeah.
I think you gotta fire 3 barrels there. Fire turn, fire river.
Anyway, I mean, it is a good shutdown too because I mean, Peter's. I don't know. What is Peter calling the raise on the flop after? I just don't think that raising the flop there was good.
Scott Rumcake says he raised a flop with someone that insta folds queen to a 3-bet. And that was David. David had folded queen 3 to the 3-bet. I don't think Peter hadn't folded queen to the 3-bet pre. No, that was another play. That was David.
Yeah, that was David that folded. Yeah.
Nate's gonna open up here to 35 with ace jack offsuit. Maddie makes a call with queen jack. Ace jack 9, top 2 for Nate. Maddie's flop middle pair. And we've seen Maddie be content to check fold middle pair.
Top 2 pairs.
Nate puts out a bet. They ask if we play with this crew often enough to know that Peter doesn't fold a lot of anything.
Yeah.
When he's leading there. King of Hearts on the turn.
See, the problem with that play there is the reason why I don't like raising there for Azan into 2 other players is that when Peter's is super tight. When he's leading, he's got something. But I guess given as played, when he does raise and then Peter calls, you have to definitely give credit to Peter for having a king. So I guess shutting down the turn is actually maybe correct.
Yeah, everything. When he doesn't go away, then you're just going to shut down and give up. It would have so much harder to.
He basically just turned his 9s though into a bluff on the flop.
And then when it didn't work, he conceded. Yeah. So we got Mailman and the game in seat 3, and I want to say I think this is about. I know that we just got him into the game, but I think this might be our last hand of the night, folks. I think we're going to stop streaming here in a little bit, but games are still going strong here, so get your butt down here and jump in the game. You see how these guys are playing, you know what you need to do? Get down here. 3-bet light.
February 8th, guys. I'll make it entertaining.
Free money. Free money. Oh my God. Why? God, you just love the abuse, don't you? God, you're sick. You're sick. You're the kind of guy who plays table games. Azan's gonna make it 60 to go. Put in a 3-bet here, and Nate made it 25. That might have been a straddle. I'm not sure. Maddie calls 6-9 of clubs. Ace 6-5, couple of diamonds.
A couple of small pairs for Nate and Maddie. Azan misses, and there's an ace, and we know Maddie doesn't like aces.
Poker News 916 in the chat box. What's up, Matt Bodorf? How you doing, brother?
What up?
Congrats on the 13-way chop in the tournament the other day. Bet's 95, and Nate's gonna call correctly with bottom pair until Azan turns a king. Now Nate could have been calling with the intention to bluff diamonds, and diamonds get there. So if Nate decides to lead here, he does not. He goes check, check, ace of clubs on the river. Someone says PLO is boring. You gotta be kidding me, brother. you're.
No, it'll be fun with me in it, trust me.
Yeah. Someone asked what the game is. We are at Stone's Gambling Hall in Sacramento.
Citrus Heights to be exact.
So now Nate, who check called and did not, maybe was thinking about check raising the turn, didn't get a chance to. That's 275. And Azan snap folds the best hand, or 250.
I think he called.
He called.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I stand corrected. Azan snap calls. Great call by Azan. He'll beat me up over that one later. Like, why? You really think I'm ever folding king queen there? You know who I'm playing against? You really think I'm ever folding king queen there, Jake? God. Oh goodness. 2040 PLO. You guys are God. It's nosebleeds for me. Maybe that's that mysterious unicorn limit high home. Yeah, right.
Might as well just play Bomb Pot Omaha, guys.
Right. All right. So I might have lied to you. I think it was. Oh no, that was our last hand. Okay.
All right.
Well, Kyle, it's been great having you tonight.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for filling for Veronica. Hopefully she gets a little bit better control over stripper pole antics.
I'm sure she'll be back.
She'll be back
by next week.
February 8th, Omaha night, half PLO.
Yep.
And February 3rd, 10.25. Want to say thanks to Bob, Kenny, Matt, all our crew here, Stones, 2-Pair Poker, Roger Bailey, all the staff. Games are still going on tonight. Get down here and jump in. Kyle's going to be spewing money. Too easy. Awesome. right, thanks, guys.
That's all I do in 2016 is spew.
Deej Poker, what? Use offer code Kyle10 for
Kyle10 will get you a discount at Deej
discount
Poker.
Deej Poker.
And I just talked to Nick the other night, and he said that they're going to be launching a new line or a bunch of new stuff. So
New gear.
Yeah,
Awesome.
It looks pretty cool. I
Look
saw
forward
new
to
gear,
it.
So,
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and